governmental entities. And in chapter 3 and 4, that's what's going to be. There are going to be a lot of journal entries, and we're going to go through them, some of them very quickly, and some of them I'll take some time to explain to you. But basically what we'll do first is take a look at the statement of activities. Statement of activities is like your income statement. Statement of activities is it's prepared on a full accrual basis, and that's why we see the word expenses and revenues. We'll take a look at that. And we'll take a look at the governmental funds, the revenues and expenditures, see how we have one statement of activity prepared on an accrual basis, the other, the statement of revenue and expenditures, which is the second statement, so you can make a comparison between the two. And we'll take a look at how these items are actually classified. And we'll then take a look at the how we account for specifically the journal entries for some of these areas. Now, the way to learn this is you have to make sense out of what you see. You cannot memorize this. It's not going to work. So you have to kind of understand how we do this. This is not rocket science. This is just, it's very straightforward, but you just need to understand the terminology, okay? And I'll try to keep it simple that way. And we'll then take a look at, actually we won't spend a lot of time in governmental accounting information systems, and we won't actually cover at all that last topic, which is revenue and expenses of public school system. We will not cover that area, okay? If you are interested, you can read that on your own in the back. If I were teaching this class for our governmental accounting program, I'll be covering that, but not for this class, okay? So let's take a look at the government-wide statement of activities, okay? Now, before we do that, let's just take a look at the statement itself. This is what it looks like. This is the statement of activities, okay, right from the book. I want you to just take a minute and look at this statement. Just, okay. What's the format? Expenses minus revenues equal what? Net revenues or expense, right? Interesting format. It's flipped around, right? Okay. Then what do you see? On the left-hand side, you see a list of functions. What are some of those functions? I talked to you about general government, right? Safety, public safety, recreation. All these are all the functions, things that governments do, right? What's that interest on long-term debt? It's separated, not allocated, but separated. The top part, this part, these are your direct expenses and these are your indirect expense, okay? So just understand that. Now, look at the program revenues. Look at the three categories. Charges for services. That's one, what you charge. So if you operated a swimming pool, you might charge people for using the swimming pool. It's under park and recreation. Operating grants, you might receive grants from other governments to do something. And capital grants. Difference between one is used to purchase equipment and assets, the other is used for what? To cover your operating expense. That's the difference. Got the top part? Okay, now let's take a look at the bottom part. Notice the net expense revenue is what? A negative number, right? It will always be a negative number. Now what do we have at the bottom? General revenues. What types of things do you see? Taxes. They are general revenue. They don't belong to any one function. They're for all the functions. So general revenues are what? They cover all the revenues which cover all the functions. Then you have special item and extraordinary item. Just hold on to that for a moment. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. And basically, by adding the net expense number to the total general revenue, you come up with something called a change in net position. Plus the net position at the beginning gives you the net position at the end. So this is what I like you, this is the format I like you to keep in mind. Okay? And most of you probably saw this as you were doing the CAFR exercise. Let's go back to, so everybody got this? This is what I just talked to you about, right? Difference between direct expenses and